Welcome to the channel, everyone. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. We've got some news about upcoming events starting tomorrow, starting Tuesday, guys. And as usual, they will be summoning events. Now, the fusion is in full motion at the moment. Personally, I am skipping the fusion. Most likely, a lot of you guys are doing it as well. Either way, I am trying to basically invest my resources at the moment, either in farming Minotaur, either in farming Shogun and Sand Devil's Necropolis. That's kind of like my main goal at the moment. Yesterday I released a video roasting an account that we are giving it away. By the way, check out that video if you want to enter the giveaway. The whole idea is that everybody in Raid makes the same mistake. We're constantly being focused on events and constantly trying to engage with every single fusion and every single champion training event, which doesn't leave us a lot of room to work on other key areas in Raid Shadow Legends. So I decided to skip the fusion and kind of like focus on those things, to be honest with you guys. Now, the whole idea right now is that I do want to give a massive disclaimer, and I feel like I will do this every single time, guys. Progressive chances, champions in Raid Shadow Legends, and personally, I feel like I cannot trust Plarium as a company to basically keep the champions as they should be, to keep the mechanics as they are, as they advertise them, is just the reality. Recently, the changes that they've implemented to the game really hurted my trust, okay? So, basically, they're always bringing in these events, 15x, 10x's, 2x's, guaranteed, fusions. You don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. You don't know what's gonna happen next week. And true, this is part of their TOS where they're telling you they can do whatever, basically. But I feel like that needs to be at a limit as well, right? So, champions like Teox, Ieyasu, Mikage, Wixwell, etc. The list goes on, okay? They lost a lot of value because of the changes. And it doesn't mean that they're useless, okay? You can still use the champions. They're still good, but they're not what they used to be when they advertise these champions in events. So always keep this in mind. You don't know what's going to happen to this champion tomorrow. So it's not safe for you to summon for him because they might make him less relevant tomorrow. And this is, of course, part of the natural power creep in any game. But I feel like recently they took such a weird turn with all of these things that my trust is zero. So starting with the very first event. This Monday, November 11, they're planning to launch a progressive chance event, giving you at least a 15x chance to summon the champions of your choice from Ancient, Primal, Sacred, and Voids. And right here we have some solid champions. Starting with Rotos, the Lost Groom. Before that, keep in mind the chances to summon legendaries are still the same. Nothing changes. They're just increasing the chance to summon that specific legendary champion. Usually the chances are very bad unless you're extremely lucky. And funny enough, I've been pretty lucky recently, so I can't really complain about that. Rotos the Lost Groom. I would love another Rotos. Now, Rotos was nerfed in the past. He's still very, very powerful for arena and stuff like that. He's never really been a champion that's insane in Hydra or Clan Boss and all that stuff. He's always been good at arena, and even after the changes, he's still a solid champion. I would love another Rotos to basically make mine to +2, to gain that speed, to gain the additional stats. But once again, the 15x chances are just not that great, especially that we might have no other event. We're gonna check the calendar in a second. Super powerful champion because of this skill. This skill right here, very powerful. The A1, the passive is what makes this champion crazy. If you're using the Ward of Fallen Blessing on him, and you have a shield as well, nobody's gonna kill him, okay? At least with the very first attack. It doesn't matter if he's a multi-hit or not. So that actually makes this champion very, very powerful, especially for live arena. I can't remember how many times he just wiped my entire freaking team on its own. That's how nasty he is. So I would love another Rotos. The reason why I gave you that disclaimer is because we're gonna get to one of the champions that's the creme de la creme, right? Then we have Holstring. Holstring recently got a buff, mainly to be very useful in Hydra. Well, guess what? That changed. So whatever buff this champion had got a massive nerf after with the changes. He's a multi-hitter champion, okay? 3 hits, 4 hits, 2 hits. Which means that if you're gonna hit a decapitated head, you're not going to use all of your hits most likely. He does deal good damage, but his skills will just get cut off by a stupid mechanic that was recently implemented in the Hydra clan boss. So keep that in mind. Other than that, he's not really useful anywhere else but the Curse City if you have different stages versus the Fire Knight, where you will require multi-hits and stuff like that. He's not a bad champion, but even after the buff, he's not that great anymore because he basically got a massive slap in the face together with all of us, basically. So he's on the list as well. Then we have Jintoro. I'm not feeling very good about the Jintoro, to be honest. He never got a buff. I don't necessarily think that he needs to have a crazy buff or anything like that. His specialty was always clan boss. Only if you're running teams that go on a 2-to-1 ratio, 3-to-1 ratio. The reason why I'm not feeling very excited for Jintoro is that whenever I used him on a 1-to-1 ratio, he performs super bad. So if I'm bringing in Anax, Fane, champions like this, very likely to outperform Jintoro. And that's mainly because he needs to take a lot of turns for this skill to actually come in play and do the big numbers, right? That's why you need a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 ratio team to really get him going. Not useful anywhere else, okay? Let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I'm just sleeping on the champion. I don't really see him being very useful in any other content whatsoever, right? Yes, the Terminator effects and all that stuff, steals 100% of the target's Terminator can be nice while you're progressing in some of the dungeons, but that changes when the bosses become immune or you're not able to decrease all of their Terminator, and definitely nothing interesting about Jintoro. As I mentioned, maybe I am sleeping on this champion, but I really, really doubt it. Then we have Septimus. Septimus, he used to be the best enemy max HP champion in the game. I've done a crazy strategy years ago, like 5 years ago, where I was one-shotting the spider with him because this skill hits really hard. But honestly, since then we've got Note, we've got Acrisia, we've got Marius, we got Otorian, plenty of different champions that multi-hit, and they're much, much better, right? On a dungeon, if you would be to take Septimus right now, he will really not perform well at all in an endgame dungeon. Not progression. Up to stage 20, he's fine. Once you're moving up from stage 20, his value drops a lot. So I do think he needs a buff. I do think he needs some form of a buff. But at the same time, there are plenty of different champions in the game that need a buff before Septimus, right? Because they're not as good, to be honest. He's not great for Hydra clan boss. I don't know. I'm not even using Septimus anywhere, honestly. I like the A1 that you can just kill and gain extra turn. It's fun. But other than that, he's just not really putting up work anywhere in the game at the moment. On any of the bosses, he doesn't outshine Coldheart anywhere, to be honest. I would still take Coldheart over Septimus pretty much at any given day, okay? Then we have the creme de la creme. Onryo Ieyasu. Now this champion came in, mainly we looked at him, okay, great for Arena. Then I decided to give it a go in Hydra, and it blew my mind, right? I actually asked Plarium, is this champion working as intended? Yes, he is. Now the problem with this champion, multi-hits. I'm using him in my Hydra team, right? He dropped tons and tons of value with the new changes. That doesn't mean that he's not one of the better options, because of the passive and the way he deals damage, but because of the multi-hits, he dropped a lot of value. As you probably noticed in the very first video I've made on this topic, I showed you how his multi-hit skills just stopped. They're not actually doing the damage as it's supposed to. A lot of people went for this champion because of the Hydra, not only for Arena. So I feel like even though he looks very good for Arena, his main speciality was Hydra, okay? Kind of like undercover. So a lot of people went to try and get him for the Hydra clan boss. The Hydra changes came in, smacked him really hard. Then the new changes came in and smacked him even harder. So another thing to keep in mind, that's why I made that disclosure at the beginning. I have no trust to go and summon for any of the new champions that they're bringing, being advertised as something, and then they're not delivering what they're supposed to, you know? I know rebalancing is a natural part in games and stuff, As I mentioned, they went completely off-site recently with the changes. He's an amazing champion, but again, up to your own discretion if you're willing to risk it for a chocolate biscuit. Then we have Turvold. I actually like Turvold, and I was talking with a clanmate of mine with the Greer, actually, big shout out to him. We were talking about what he can do nowadays, right? And thankfully, my Turvold is +4. He does have a 6-star blessing, and we were talking about him in the Sand Devil's Necropolis, being able to one-shot the boss. If you have, of course, Raiho on a Feral set, which is amazing. Most likely can do the same in the Shogun. I'm not planning to use mine in the Sand Devil's Necropolis because I have a Newt and a Chrysia team in there. But I'm planning to try him in the Shogun. I want to see what sort of damage he can deal in there, especially that I have him at +4 and 6-star, right? He was guaranteed at some point. For a while, he was meta for Arena 2, which was actually pretty nice to see him in there. But other than that, he deals good damage in Clan Boss, good damage in Hydra, but he has the same issue. This skill, multi-hit. One of the hits most likely is not going to land because you're going to decapitate, you're going to break the HP on a decapitated head with the damage that he brings on a good build, you know? So another champion suffering from the Hydra syndrome now. And that was most likely the best content where you were able to use Turvold nowadays, Hydra. And again, he lost value in that as well. So that's pretty much the whole situation with the champions, with the events, guys. I don't know, man. My trust is really, really gone. You know, like my trust is gone. Then, on Tuesday, they are planning to launch a Awakening Boost event, giving you a 2x chance to summon 5-star and 6-star Perfect Souls from Mortal and from Immortal Soulstones. Which means that the chances to summon the rarity will be intact, it will not change, but the chance to summon higher rank will be doubled. Okay, so that's good. You're gonna have a 12% chance to summon a 6-star, and you're gonna have a 24% chance to summon a 5-star from the medium soul stones, and then 1.5-3% from the small stones. I don't think they will ever do any events for the Eternal Soul Stones. Super expensive, not worth buying, even for Krakens. How many times you're just getting epics out of it, right? But either way, this was kind of like expected to get a new 2x on Soulstones. I don't have many, but thankfully we had the new reset for the Curse City. Tomorrow and Tuesday, I think I'll be able to collect pretty much everything from here. Get this one, get this one. What else is left to collect from here? I feel like that is about it. We have some more currency right here. So I'm gonna have another medium or another medium and a half. And I'm gonna have a big soulstone from the Curse City. The Hydra will reset, plus the dailies, and I will have a few soulstones to throw at the event. The last 4 of them have been awful for me. Before that, 2 of them were pretty amazing. I've got some nice characters. Seems like I have 2 remnants, guys. I haven't got a mythical from here. Most likely, I'm gonna go to the Mercy. The Mercy is awful, okay? You need to summon 24 of them, which means exactly 1 year before the Mercy kicks in. And then it's only going to increase by 1%, which means that you can go another 1 year without a mythical champion, you know? I would love to get a mythical from here. That would definitely make my month, make my day, to be honest with you guys. But I feel like the Mercy is going to eat me alive in this situation here with these cursed remnants, you know, as expected. 2 epics. I do tend to keep them for champ chase tournaments, but because I'm skipping the fusion, I don't really care about them. That was all for the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you planning to go for any of the champions? Are you tempted by any of them? And where is your trust with Plarium at the moment? Very curious to hear that. Much love. Appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.